Good afternoon. We had a game last week in Jackson, great atmosphere. It was electric. Didn't have the outcome that we wanted, unfortunately, but we have to move past that and get ready for this game this week.
Coach, what kind of feedback did you get from the players after that game in your meetings with them since it was played? What are they telling you about how they played?
I love my team, and I love the feedback because my team is an honest team. They don't say what I want them to hear or what we want them to hear. They say they'll tell me what they did or didn't do well or how they feel, and that's what you want as a coach. And so I appreciate the fact that those guys. The thing that was most encouraging that those guys really felt the pain from losing the game that we thought we had a really good shot at winning, and those guys, we just didn't play well. So, and those guys understand that. So when we had our meeting yesterday and our practice yesterday, those guys were attentive and they went out and they practiced well last night. So it's good to see those guys understanding what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build.
What were you able to see about as far as T-sets availability this week, and how are you going to approach that going forward?
Well, the X-rays were negative, and we hope that he'll move around. T-sets are competitive. He's talking about coach, I'm going to practice today, but I'd like to see that one. But we're just going to let him go through the treatments and rehab and get himself together. And he stays around. He's engaged. He's always going to be engaged. So we're hoping that he'll come around faster than prognosis. But his spirits are good, so we'll take it as it comes.
Do you have a
diagnosis
diagnosis?
out this week?
Not yet.
Do you have a diagnosis on the injury?
It was a negative X-ray on his ankle.
Coach, when you look back at the offensive line play from Saturday, do you feel like the issue is more so technique or just lack of communication?
It was a combination of things. Again, we got new guys playing together. They got a gel. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Game experience is the best experience, and so a lot of times it was some technical things, some fundamental things. Guys communicated as offensive linemen should communicate. We talked about that yesterday, last night, and those guys understand that. So it was a combination of things, but they'll be better.
Will y'all looking to rotate some more guys?
We probably will play a few more guys, but you want to build that core. You want to build that core if you can initially. So, but we will look to play a few more guys.
The T-Sets injury, is Bowden the starter moving forward with this week at least?
Well, he's going out there now because T-Sets got injured.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, he'll be the starter right now. So right now that's what it looks.
Yeah.
I guess, were you able to take away any positives from Noah's performance other than maybe the interceptions that he had on Saturday?
Oh, definitely. I mean, he came in, we were down, I forget what the score was, and for any player, any quarterback, to come into a rivalry game behind after you've been replaced, it says that he was prepared mentally, so that speaks to his maturity and his leadership. To have to deal with what he has to deal with as a quarterback, to come in and try. He did a great job. He threw for over 300 yards. Yeah, the interceptions, one was a decision that he probably should have just taken the sack. The other one was more so it wasn't really on him because it's a timing throw. So, but he gave us an opportunity to come back and win the ball game. And so that's all you can ask for. So hats off to him for coming in and giving us a chance. We just got to take advantage of those opportunities when we get them.
How much did the missed tackles on first contact play a role into Jackson State having another 200-yard performance?
Not really. It wasn't so first contact missed tackles. It was the fact that our guys were pressing too much, and when that happens, when guys are trying to make plays and they're trying to do things other than what they need to do, then that happens. I said it to the team, and I said it publicly. I think what happened with us is that the guys were reading the newspapers and reading social media how good we were defensively. And Jackson, they read it as well. And so their guys stepped up to the challenge. And so life humbles you sometimes. Sometimes you get a little bit big for yourself, and then something like that happens and it humbles you. But I will say this is what I love about my guys again. Our defense feels some type of way about it, so they're going to do everything in their power to correct it.
In what way do you feel like this was a learning and growing experience for the defense?
Just as I said, you gotta be even killed. You can't get too high, can't get too low. The thing, as I told the team last night, just like the defense is when you do something well and people pat you on the back, you take it with a grain of salt. And then what you have to do as a player and an individual, as a group, you have to say, okay, that's nice, but how much better can I get tomorrow? How much can I get better the next day? And that's what it's all about. You can't be satisfied or complacent with where you are. You got to try to get better every day. And we have a thing that we talk about, and it's part of a prayer. We say, Lord, make me greater today than I was on yesterday. So that's what we impart upon them.
Coach, what do you see with Prairie View A&M coming into this game?
They pretty much, they have some athletes. They do a good job. The quarterbacks pretty athletic, pretty mobile. A few good wide receivers. They run the ball pretty good. Defensively, they're going to get after it. The same type of defense coach, and of course, Coach Fossman is the defense coordinator who played here for us at Southern and came up under us. So he does a lot of the same things schematically, 4-2-5, wants to bring pressure and stuff like that. So they're going to try to get after it, but they do a good job of getting their guys to play. And of course, they're going to be at home. They're going to be at home, and they know that they've already taken their loss on that side. So they're going to be prepared to try to win at home. And so it's on us to make sure that we're prepared to go and win on the road, because that's what you got to do. You got to win on the road if you're going to compete for championships, and that's what we have to do.
Coach, one of the consistent areas on your offense has been tight ends. Would you talk a little bit about Dupree and Jermaine and what they brought? Jermaine caught the touchdown, and Dupree had one the week before.
Well, they're probably two of the best tight ends in the country, just hands down, and not because I coach them. They have a skill set that you want in tight end. They have the size, they have the speed, they have the ball skills, they can block, they're physical. And I told them that when I became the head coach, I said, this is going to be an offense where we're going to utilize 11 personnel, we're going to play 12 personnel, we're going to throw to the tight ends. And those guys have done a great job. Coach McNair does a great job of getting those guys ready to go. And they understand the offense, and they understand when they do their jobs, not only just in the run game, the passing game, they'll be rewarded for it. And so we're going to continue to utilize those guys. And those guys work well together. And so that's what helps. Those guys are not selfish. When one's tired, the other one will go in, and vice versa. And they understand how to complement the offense. And I always tell those guys, a tight end is a quarterback's best friend, because he creates problems for defenses. And those guys, with their speed and athletic ability, they create matchup problems for a lot of linebackers as well as safeties.
How far have they come with their blocking?
They've come a long ways. One, because Fuller is healthy. I think that's what hurt him somewhat in the past, but he's healthy. Minor he's gotten a year older. He's gotten a year stronger. Two things about them: they don't mind blocking. They are physical guys, so won't mind to put on another. Next year, won't put on another 15, 20 pounds, and so he'll be even more formidable. But those guys don't mind it, and that's a good thing. When you got tight ends that can catch but don't mind blocking, then you got some good players.
Coach, how much more important is it to get a win on Saturday? And not just to start off swag play on the right foot, but to go into next week, 5 week, with some confidence.
It's definitely important to get the win on Saturday. Like you said, it's on our side, Western Division. We want to certainly be 1-0 from that standpoint, and then it's huge going into the bye week, because with a win, now you can go and you can start working on some things you may not have an opportunity to work on when you're going week to week. And so it's important to finish that first 4 with the W, and then we can basically scale back and do a self-scout of what we do and how we're doing things, and then and just go ahead and get ready to make the run for the second half of the season.
Historically, Southern has had a good success playing at PV. I mean, you've been around this conference for a long time. What is it, I guess, in certain environments that teams just have that extra juice?
Well, I think it's when teams play Southern University. I don't care where it is. They're going to have extra juice because they're home, but then they're also going to have extra juice because it's Southern. And, we've had our way with this conference for a long time. And so, as in life, you have those that want to take that opportunity to kind of try to even it up. So they're going to be fired up. They're going to be ready to play again. They understand that, we call the West the Wild Wild West for a reason. And if you lose a game, it's tough. If you lose 2 games, it's going to almost take a miracle for you to really get back into the championship race. So, that's the thing that we understand, and those guys understand as well. So we got to be prepared and ready to go.
Is there going to be any type of adjustments or anything like that to the run game going forward?
We just got to work on the fundamentals and techniques. The old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. So with a rebuilt or new offensive line, things of that nature, you guys got to keep plugging at it. It's easy. So many times people, when things don't seem to be working the way that they perceive it to work, they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But you got to stay. You got to stay with it. You got to keep your hand to the plow. You got to keep pushing. I use the analogy of an option team. Option teams, you stop them in the first quarter. They might get 1 yard. They might get 2 yards. They might get 3 yards. But those teams that stay with it, all of a sudden that 2 yard turns into 10. That 10 yards turns into 20. So you got to be committed. You got to commit to the commitment, and I believe that's what we'll do.
Talk a little bit about Shamar Savage. I know he sticks out a little bit. It's a pretty big load to handle for defensive backs.
Yeah, he's a good football player. He's a good football player. And we just got to make sure that we do what we need to do. You don't stop players like that. You just try to contain them and do what we have to do. So he's going to present some. He presents some things that he does that you got to pay attention to. So we're working on that now.
Speaking of defensive backs, how impressed have you been with your secondary through the first 3 weeks? I think they only allow 107 yards, one of the best in the nation.
Yeah, and I'm again, touchdown. I'm excited about that group because that group works well. I'm excited about that group. The group that's come together and they gel well together. But at the same token, there's a lot of things that we got to continue to work on. And last Saturday, we got exposed to some things that we have to fix. And it's anything major, just making sure our eyes are in the right place and things of that nature. But as a group collectively, they've done a great job thus far, but we still got a ways to go. I mean, again, talking about the pats on the back, yeah, they've been doing a great job, but now we got to get better. We got to get better.
Any more questions, Coach Grady? Thanks, Coach Grady.
All right, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.